essentially observe him. So I was a fly on the wall, as it was. But I think the thing, unfortunately, with Bollywood is that it's very hard, as you said, to see anyone having a political opinion in Bollywood today. And though he did certainly stand up and I think suffered quite a bit for that in the past, I haven't seen anything he said recently, or in fact anyone else.
I think after the whole My Name is Khan fiasco that he had with Shiv Sena,
Oh yeah,
after that he's definitely
he stopped.
stopped. And he was honest about it. He's like, man, this film is not just about me, it's about 200 other people who have to make it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to risk the film getting cut off.
Apropos of nothing, I mean, I did write about it in the book, but I was fascinated by Karan Johar's hostage video. You know, where he, after Mushkil, was that?
Yeah,
Eid Mushkil? Where he had to make a video. This is one of the biggest directors in Bollywood who made what looks like a hostage video promising never to work with Pakistani talent again. And I did write to Karan to interview him, but I'm Pakistani, so I guess he was afraid of making another video.
You should try Anurag Kashyap next time.
Yes, he's interesting. You're right. Thank you.
I'm going to pop in to say that we have about 10 minutes left, so we're going to limit questions to people who are already in line over there.
Hey, Ms. Bhutto, thank you for coming. Very
Thank
nice
you.
to see a Pakistani talent being recognized.
Thank you.
Forgive me, my question isn't about your book.
Okay.
My uncle is Shahid Haqqan Abbasi, who is former Prime Minister of Pakistan. Right now, he's currently spending time in jail. And this is the second time we spent time in jail. Last time was between 1999 and 2002. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the political situation in Pakistan, where opposition leaders are being locked up and the media is being censored. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on the situation.
Thank you for coming and for your question. Yeah, I think it's, as always, it's a fraught time in Pakistan. I mean, I think today censorship is practiced a little more enthusiastically than it has been in recent years. And certainly there is victimization and there are leaders being arrested. One also has to distinguish, because in the case of Asif Zardari being arrested, I mean, there's 30 years worth of corruption cases and murder cases on the man's record. So it's impossible to see that as victimization. But certainly there is, and I think, unfortunately, it's disrupting a really powerful moment for Pakistan. And I think Pakistanis have always been incredibly brave about their opinions and about engaging in conversations that are against the government. And it's disappointing to see that being stopped, whether online or on the streets. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Saqib Shah. Forgive me for asking something that is not related to this discussion. We are just desperately, waiting for you to join politics. So when will that exactly happen? Do you know that?
I don't exactly know that. I've always said, I mean, I am very interested in politics and I consider myself a political person. But I don't think what I do is apolitical or unpolitical. I think it is quite political. The only difference is that I don't hold an office, and that allows me a certain freedom to say what I think and feel. Really.
When will you run for an office? Yeah. So I mean that's exactly what I was trying to ask.
Oh, okay. I don't have any plans at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Amal Lagari, and I'm thankful to you for being here. And it's
Thank you.
available experience. I have a question. I think you are very much fascinated with anthropology. You like the cultures, and we all agree. The cultures as colors of life. Which culture has most fascinated you? And you said that K-pop has coded message.
Yeah.
Are those messages negative too? And how they just influence the society?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. K-pop's messages are conservative messages. So they are messages of family, of community, of working hard, studying hard, respecting your elders. There's a band trying to break it into America called NCT 127 lately. And I was just looking up their song names, and they're like the sweetest song names you can think of. One is called Simon Says, and the other one is like How Are You Today? And so they're not disruptive in the sense of how we're used to thinking that music can be sometimes. Yeah. They're oppressively positive in terms of its messaging. And the second question, I mean, I've always been interested in culture, just globally, worldwide, I'm fascinated by it. But one of the things I wrote about in the book, and that I wrote about even as a university student, is Pakistani culture and how its resistance and political dissent has been coded in. And the story I always like to tell for people who might not know this is in the 1980s, when Pakistan was under its most oppressive military dictatorship. We had a CIA-backed dictator named General Ziaul Haq who brutalized society. So Ziaul Haq made amputation the punishment for theft. And in all of Pakistan, he couldn't find anybody to carry out an amputation. Every single doctor just about in the country refused, they went to butchers and said, will you carry out? And the butchers refused. Just to give you a sense of Ziaul Haq's terror, yes, and brutality of the country. And it's at that time that you have incredible art in Pakistan. So Faiz Ahmad Faiz, it's at that time that he writes Hum Dekhenge, which is a poem about the falling of tyranny and the erasure of dictatorship. And Faiz paid for that. Faiz was forced to leave his country. He went to Beirut. He lives in Lebanon. And even after Faiz paid for that, Iqbal Banu stands up on a stage in Lahore and sings that poem in front of a crowd. And for that act of defiance and resistance, Iqbal Banu's career was effectively ended by the dictatorship. So that's one culture that I've always been fascinated by, and it not just its bravery, but its cultural value. I mean, those are beautiful artists as well.
Yeah. Thank you. And another request, please come back.
Okay, thank you. I will.
Hi.
Hi.
So my name is Surbhi and I'm from India, Delhi.
Hi.
I was reading your book and I also was having discussion with my uncle, and we were trying to understand that, why look at Bollywood now? It's been there, it's been popular. You've mentioned also, and we know that how
Yeah.
Raj Kapoor was popular and so many
Yeah.
different actors throughout its history.
Yeah.
So why look at Bollywood now?
Yeah.
And that is one. And second is, again, did you not want to look at Pakistani dramas?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also-
So those are both very good questions. So I did write briefly about Pakistani dramas, but the publishers Columbia Global Report study globalization. So what I had to do for everything that I wrote about was I had to find, for example, the culture and then who's watching it somewhere you don't expect. And so I chose Bollywood now because of the Peruvian fans. So if they had been Raj Kapoor fans, I would have written only about Raj Kapoor. And by the way, it is Raj Kapoor's films that begin the Peruvian obsession. But today, the people they're watching are Amir, Salman, Shah Rukh, Ranveer, those guys. And I would have loved to write about Pakistani dramas. And they're really popular in India, aren't they? Because
Yes.
my friends
They really changed, because I think personally for me, you had this very alien concept.
That's right.
Because we had no exposure, nothing of, and then I see, and I'm like, they're just like us.
They're just
There's
like,
no
exactly.
difference.
Well, that's why, I always say that we know what Indians are like because we watch you for 3 hours at a go. So we know you talk like us, you look like us, you eat like us. But you don't have a lot of our products coming forward. And so Pakistani television dramas are so important for that reason. But for the remit of the book, I would have had to find like Swedish fans of Pakistani dramas. And that was a little hard to do within my time frame. Though they did have, in the 80s when the dramas were really popular, people were watching them in the West Indies and things like that.
Hi, my name is Fazia, and being a border person between Afghanistan and Pakistan origin, I think in between borders.
Yes.
So I see in your work as an artist who brings up very difficult political questions, which are not very a regular person would not dare to ask, in a very subtle and I may say benign way
thank
of
you.
putting it into culture, nice book,
Yeah.
Bollywood, sing, dance, and all that.
Yeah.
And although it's actually attacking a very difficult political question. So that brings to my mind something very personal. As my name is Fazia, thinking you're daughter of Fazia, an Afghan, and a Sindhi, and there he comes from an Iranian Sindhi background. Don't you see yourself as being the border, in the border of the real issue of the day today, and
Yeah.
maybe since I'm the last question,
Yeah.
ask her. So maybe this would take you to the future of this book,
Yeah.
becoming a subtle way, a non-pernicious way of asking another pernicious role that you could play between Pakistan, Afghanistan political
Yeah.
issue. So
Yeah.
let's see how we
Thank
could
you.
do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I do. My father's mother, my grandmother was from Esfahan in Iran. I was born in Kabul also, so not only am I half Afghan, but that's my birthplace. I'm very interested in all these things. My grandmother grew up in Pune in India, so I think the ugliest border in the world today, or the ugliest borders in the world today, come from our part of the world. It comes from this divide between India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan. We share not only a history and a heritage, but a culture that can't be policed by checkpoints and passports. I've tried actually a lot to go back to Afghanistan and to visit it, and I'm never successful, though I keep trying. I've traveled through Iran, and I would like very much to be more involved between the region. And if you have any ideas, I'm open. Thank you all for coming. It was so nice of you to come and spend your Sunday here. Thank you. And we can talk more anyways during the book signing. Thank you.